Hello, my fam. Today's coffee mug represents how I'm feeling. And I think a lot of us are probably feeling this way today or worse because of Luke Perry's passing. It really has affected me. I'll get to that later. But first, hi, I've missed you. It's been a couple of days since I did one of these, and there are some updates in the whole Khloe Kardashian, Tristan, Thompson, Jordan Woods drama. I'll get to that later. But first, how are you? I want to check in. I want to send some love, energy. I hope you had a good weekend. I did. I got 3 solid nights of sleep. I took my kids to the theater on Sunday. It was just $10 a ticket. Win, because I'm cheap. Saturday night, I got free tickets. Thank you, Pasadena Playhouse. I went to go see Ragtime with my friend Kaylee Short. If any of you love country music, check out Kaylee. But today, I got the news that Luke Perry passed while I was at the gym. And I knew. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend, and a lot of my friends asked me for updates or what's happening here or there, because that's my job, and I'm informed. And I told my friend in this instance, when talking to her about Luke Perry, no news is bad news. That was my literal quote, because if he had a stroke and he was awake or responding or improving, that would have leaked, that would have gotten out. He was just 52 years young. And I think the reason this impacted me so much is because I'm honest with you guys always. I don't watch TV now at all, except for award shows, or I'll have it on in the background when I let my kids watch Spanish language cartoons. But growing up, I was the opposite of that. I watched so much television. TV was my best friend. I lost myself. I drowned my emptiness, my loneliness, my sorrow, whatever it was. TV consoled me, and it was there for me, and I did that more than anything else growing up. And 90210 was a show that I watched. In fact, true story, I think I've mentioned this publicly before. I was so invested in 90210 that after Shannon Doherty left, I wrote a letter on my brother word processor to Fox saying, I'm never watching the show again unless you bring Shannon Doherty back. I kept watching, but I've always been dramatic. This is vanilla bean macaroon, by the way. It is yummy. Needless to say, it's just incredibly sorry. And he recently was reaching new audiences, starring on Riverdale. He leaves behind children, family. He was surrounded by loved ones when he passed from the stroke. And I'm not a doctor or a medical person. I didn't do well in science or health. My dad passed away from an aneurysm. And I think, my very rudimentary understanding, it may not be the same thing, a stroke and an aneurysm, but they're related. They're both brain issues that come on suddenly. And actually, I need to make a note. I'm following through. Get a checkup with doc. This really has prompted me to, I haven't been to the doctor in a while, to go see my general practitioner. We really should be going once a year. And actually, from now on, January 15th, maybe January 20th. From now on, I'm going to send myself a reminder every January 20th to make an appointment to go see the doctor for my annual checkup. Everything, especially now that I'm older. Over the weekend, I made a video on my personal channel talking about how my body doesn't feel like it used to and the changes that I'm experiencing. If you have high blood pressure, take your medication. Please try to find an access to a doctor to be seen once a year, even if you're young, even if you're in your 20s or 30s. In the wake of Luke Perry's passing, production has been suspended on Riverdale, And that's the appropriate thing to do, to give the cast, the crew, the writers, everybody time to grieve, to process, and for the team there to just decide what to do with the show and with his character. And I wonder what will happen with the upcoming reboot of 90210. I really hope they don't kill off his character, because part of me wants Dylan to live on forever. Anyways, I gotta move on because this is really depressing stuff. All right, on to other news. I'll have links down below so that you can read more about what other celebrities have said and shared stories and anecdotes that is COSTARS have also shared. So down below, click for more. I'm sorry. You know, my friend Kaylee over the weekend told me that all of the Khloe Kardashian drama was a scandal that you can get behind because it's not anything nasty or mean or awful. I mean, it is mean, but it's not anything like the Me Too movement, you know? It's not anything like Michael Jackson leaving Neverland. Plus, also, everybody can relate to being lied to, being betrayed, adultery, issues like that. So I will get to that. But first, I have some more heaviness. I'm sorry. It's important to talk about heavy things. It can't all just be cotton candy. Ugh. I know that these videos hopefully are an escape, but even when talking about serious things, hopefully we can do it in a way that can be healing, or we can find understanding, or we're just in it together. I feel like we're in this together and we have to talk about these things. I have to talk about these things. I can't ignore the documentary, which from all of the clips that I've seen and everything I've read, I didn't sit down to watch it, okay? I like to be honest. It was brutal. I did watch clips. I did read a lot. And it's just so disheartening to see so many Michael Jackson fans trying to discredit these two, to discredit the third accuser, Jordan Chandler, who is not featured in the documentary. So as of now, there are 3 people who have accused Michael Jackson of wrongdoing. Both of the men, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, I apologize if I got his name wrong. Both of them shared very similar stories. And this is how I can explain it in real simple terms to even the fiercest Michael Jackson defender. Should this grown man have been having unsupervised sleepovers with young boys? No. Young boys that he wasn't related to? Do you really think that's normal and that nothing happens? Even in the 80s or 90s, this all allegedly happened in the 90s, people knew better. You knew not to do that. Normal guys would not have done that. Oh, gosh, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I want to thank HBO for airing it, and I want to thank Oprah for also getting behind the documentary and supporting and believing the accusers. She herself is the victim of childhood abuse. I've got it TiVo'd, so hopefully soon I'll be able to have time to watch it, but let's talk about not so heavy things now. Wendy Williams is back, made her return to daytime television, and I think Wendy handled her return to TV in such a poor manner. In a manner that was disrespectful to her audience who have supported her for 10 years now on television and have supported her during a really trying time. Her husband has been accused by former colleagues of being physically abusive towards Wendy. It's been reported that this man got his long-term mistress pregnant, had bought her a place to live, and Wendy brushed it all under the rug, didn't address all of the allegations one by one or in detail, and instead said, I still got my rock on, my husband is my husband for life, all marriages go through ebbs and flows. That's just sad. It's sad. It's sad that she would stand behind somebody like that. I do have empathy for her for a multitude of reasons. She's feeling compelled to stay with this guy, and that's another issue. The bigger issue is I would have at least said, I read this and that's not true. I read that and that's not true. I read this and this is not true. Instead, she said, let me quote so I don't say something incorrect, but I want to say, she says, quote, I know what you've been seeing, but hunty, let me show you who I fell in love with and who he fell in love with. I'm still very much in love with my husband, and anyone who's been married, you know, marriages have ebbs and flows, blah, 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 blah. It'll be interesting to see, oops, this moved. It'll be interesting to see if this impacts ratings or not. Especially if some of her co-stars, guest hosts, got better ratings than she did. Honestly, I got so much sleep this weekend and I'm not feeling 100. It's... Thank you for being a friend. It's so good. All right. As I mentioned, Khloe Kardashian, some updates there. She took to Twitter over the weekend to walk back what she had previously said immediately after Jordyn Woods' Red Table Talk aired, where she blamed Jordyn for her family breaking up. On Saturday, she said, no, Tristan is to blame, but she made sure to remind everybody how hurt she was by Jordyn and being betrayed by somebody so close to her. Understandable. And you know what's so confusing also in Jenner land? That alleged cheating of Travis Scott on Kylie Jenner, that news broke on Thursday night. Maybe it did happen, but even if it did happen and Kylie found out on Thursday, and I have more empathy for Kylie Jenner than I do for Khloe. Because Khloe is not a victim, as I said on Friday. Khloe chose to stand by this guy. Khloe had to have been prepared for this to happen. I don't think Kylie was prepared to be betrayed by her best friend like this, her best friend for a really long time. Somebody leaked that story to TMZ about Travis allegedly cheating, and that had to be okayed. That was either directly given to them by Kris Jenner or Kris Jenner told somebody else to do it. I would have thought Kris Jenner was smarter than that. You don't leak that then. You would have leaked that today, after all of the Khloe mess simmered down a bit. But an update on Khloe and all of her drama. She and Travis are still together. She is wanting to work things out, even though she allegedly saw information, whatever that is, we don't know yet, on Travis's phone. And guess what? Travis is so indoctrinated in the Jenner clan now, like Kanye, that he continues to stir the pot and give us another headline and add fuel to the fire. Because over the weekend, Travis Scott not even turned off the comments on his Instagram, turned off his Instagram. Travis Scott deactivated his Instagram. If he would have just turned off his comments, that would not have been a story. But taking it down temporarily or permanently, that's a story. And it leads one to think, maybe there was something there to all of the reports. Let's move on because I don't want to talk about the Kardashians anymore. Let's talk about Stormy Daniels. It saddens me that so many people shame sex workers. You can acknowledge that it's not for you. You can hope and pray that your son or daughter or brother or sister doesn't get into sex work, but it's hard enough for Stormy Daniels and sex workers already to do what they do. We shouldn't make it worse for them. She is a woman in her late 30s or 40s, around there. She's making a choice to do this. And now she's branching out and wants to do stand-up comedy and announced that she is doing a show in her home state of Texas and got met with a lot of flack, a lot of feedback, negative attention, criticism by female comics as well. In fact, one of them, who happens to be a writer on the Conan O'Brien show, Lori Kilmartin, said, "Doing stand-up is not a reward for being famous. Please leave the weekend gigs for actual female comics." That is so snobbish and entitled and elitist. You know, I've repeatedly defended that Cash Me Outside girl and all of the other influencers who go into the music space. I'm not gonna say don't do it. It's smart. For whatever reasons you want to do it. In her defense, Stormy says that she's been writing material and has wanted to do this for a decade now. She said, "Wow, so supportive. I am an actual female, but I'll never get women who just tear other women down. I know it's not a reward. I've been writing comedy material for over 10 years. Blah, 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 blah." I'm with you, Stormy. Do whatever makes you happy. And she's got a child. Do whatever will make you money. Speaking of children, Terry Crews and I got into it because over the weekend, Terry Crews sent out a series of tweets in which he defended his position that children need maternal and paternal influences or role models in their lives. I mean, first and foremost, any child that goes to school is going to have maternal and paternal role models. Teachers are role models. I didn't go to a single school that was just male teachers or female teachers. But it's deep-seated and rooted in this heteronormative fallacy. Studies show you don't need opposite gendered or both genders in the house to have a child that thrives. My mom lives with us because my dad died when I was 14. If it had been reversed and it was my dad living with us and I didn't have any maternal figure or maternal role model in the house, my kids would have still been more than loved, supported, happy, and healthy. I know it because I know the kind of home I create for my children and the kind of parent that I am. It sucks that there were so many people agreeing with him too, though. Anyways, in other news, I do not understand this. In the last 12 months, it seems like Imagine Dragons has been getting so much bad press. Why? I love Imagine Dragons. Are some of their songs generic? Maybe, but good. They're way better than Maroon 5, that's for sure. And it's one thing for you or I to have an opinion about Imagine Dragons. It's really disheartening to see fellow musicians calling them the worst band in the world. You know what I call them? Hashtag haters. I'm in a better mood now. You see, doing this was cathartic. I hope watching it was the same for you. I've still got a couple more things to get to. In other news, I left her towards the end because she is so hashtag irrelevant. I gotta stop saying hashtag today. ROSEANNE Barr calls out the Me Too movement and the activists there as hoes. Seriously. She said that these women exchanged sexual favors to further their career, and then now they're backtracking. She said, they're hoes. If you don't run out of the room and go, excuse me, you don't do that to me and leave, but you stayed around because you're like, well, I thought maybe he was going to give me a writing job. Well, you're nothing but a hoe. She goes on to say these women are pretending that they didn't go trading sexual favors for money. The women are pissed because they weren't attracted to the guy that did it. ROSEANNE deserved everything that happened to her. Yeah, I'm over 20 minutes today. Let's keep it moving. In other unpleasant news, Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard. I wish these two could just let each other live. They got divorced forever ago. He agreed to pay her millions of dollars. She gave that money to charity. Now he's suing her for $50 million. It seems like a calculated attempt to hurt her. It's more likely than not that he's going to lose this, and he just wants to hurt her and financially drain her. It's really sad. I am Team Amber. In other news, awful news, R. Kelly's manager says that R. Kelly recorded his sex tapes with the allegedly underage victims to prove consent. A 14-year-old girl can't give consent. Sometimes I wish I could just create a bubble, a magical bubble where only I live with my kids and people I choose. Because the real world is filled with so many stupid and awful people. In other news, Steven Spielberg is pioneering or championing this movement, this campaign with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences to ban films made for Netflix or streaming from being eligible for the Academy Awards. Roma was made for Netflix this year, and it premiered in theaters to legally be eligible for the Oscars. But, you know, Spielberg says it's a loophole and blah, 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 blah. I think Steven Spielberg is old. If Netflix is willing to finance great filmmakers to make great films, why should they be discriminated against? There's nothing different from a Netflix movie or a movie made in the theater other than the theater screen is way bigger. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I want to send positive vibes to Jessica Simpson. She's been hospitalized for the 4th time in 2 months. She was just released. She had bronchitis. Ay, ay, ay. She had bronchitis. She also had swelling. She had sciatica, all these other things. And she's pregnant, as I mentioned. This may be her 3rd and final pregnancy. I wish I could have carried my kids. Kourtney Kardashian wants to be the next Gwyneth Paltrow. She is launching her very own Goop-like brand called Poosh, which is the nickname that she has for her daughter Penelope. Do you guys think this is going to be a big success or a big flop? Kim and Kylie sell tons of makeup. Anything is possible. I have no idea. And let's end things with some wacky news. And then not so wacky, but moving to the wacky category from Kourtney Kardashian to Danielle Staub. The Real Housewives of New Jersey star got engaged to a guy, as I mentioned, just 1 week after getting divorced. Now her 1 week engagement is over. Wah, wah. And the dude was really rich and a noble, the Duke of Provence in France. Publicity stunting done right. And finally, in a new interview, Ben Affleck opened up about living with alcoholism. And I want to applaud him for being so open and brave. Hopefully destigmatizing his illness can help him. Hopefully talking about his healing. And I'll end things with something I've said before. As an old man now, the best piece of advice I could have ever given my younger self, which thankfully I started doing when I was 30, but I wish I would have started when I was younger, is be healthy. Focus on your health. It's so much better and easier for you if you focus on being healthy when you're younger. It's a lot harder the older you get, but it's never too late to make healthier choices and be a healthier person. I send you all good health. An appreciation from the bottom of my heart for watching and supporting me and supporting my family. Every view is appreciated. Thank you. If you enjoyed this, help me grow it. We're in this together. Share this video, hit the like button, leave a comment. God bless.